All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trading Bitcoin with your host, Tone Vays. People have been saying stuff about my mic, how it's weird early on in the videos. I got to look into that. Maybe it's time to buy a new mic. God, I can't wait to upgrade all my tech equipment around Black Friday. And I think there's going to be a lot of sales to try and get the economy back up and running. And let's hope they do by November. Coming to you a little bit later, went to bed a little late, slept in a little bit. Not trading today. I didn't trade yesterday. Well, actually, I did trade yesterday, but it was more for educational purposes. For the options class, the options class went absolutely great. Loved the group that we had. Yesterday's class was everyone that has ever taken options from me, and it was all about using my trading account to set up trades. With the right risk parameters and proper setups. And I don't think I'm going to be trading this week. I'm just going to watch the positions that we entered yesterday a little bit and mostly just catch up. I'm going to close some of these tabs, I promise you. All right, let's get into the show. Let me pull out your live chat. Everything is ready. Pop out chat. Here we go. I'm going to close this. Hey, guys, please hit the like and the subscribe button. We're not going to get to Q&A unless this video has, let's go with only 250 likes. We already have 260 live viewers. We're going to have close to 500. I should probably have a limit set to when we do Bitcoin stuff, and we're going to look at S&P first. But let's get those likes up to 250. Otherwise, I'm going to skip the question part. That's how we're going to do it. Let's get these videos some more action. Can't wait to get to 100,000 subscribers. Okay, let's go to screen share. And of course, if you want to support, you can go ahead and use the affiliate page. I'll mention that later. Let's go straight into Bitcoin or S&P. I'm going into the S&P, guys, because the market is opened. I'm bringing you this video a little bit late. I don't think Bitcoin's moving much, so we can get to it in a little bit. But the S&P sure is moving. Yeah, Bitcoin's not moving. Bitcoin's not interesting right now, but the S&P is moving. So let's talk about the S&P, and then we'll get to Bitcoin. More people will join us for that part as well. Okay, here's the S&P. Here's the 10-minute chart of the stock market. As you can see, we opened up, and by up, I mean way up. So I got out of my trade here. I was short here, and I no longer trusted the market that it was going to hold the 50-day moving average as a rejection point. We just flew up. So where are we right now on the S&P 500? Money printing or no money printing, the economy is still generally shut down. And it's great that the speculators are optimistic, but the reality of the situation is that's going to lead to some issues down the line. So I am not short. I am also not long. I mean, the smart move, of course, would have been to long on Friday, but I wasn't going to risk that through the weekend. Monday morning probably felt like it was too late to risk it to go long. The market just kept going up. I would have thought it was too risky to go long at the end of the day, and the market gapped up. The market is going up way too far and way too fast again for the third time. So let's look at it. The first time the market went too far too fast, it moved 20% in 1, 2, 3, 3.5 days, moved 20%, or about the second time. Well, the second time, market went straight up, minus 1 day, and it went all the way to here. That's where the top was. This was a good one because it lasted exactly 9 days. And that was another 17% up. What about the current move? So the current move started back here, and we are now 7% up in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Okay. I think this can go higher. And it can go higher because it's sitting in the middle of nowhere right now. We have Fibonacci resistance at 2940. And then we have very critical 200-day moving average on the S&P and the setup trend line. Now, these are very, very different for the NASDAQ and the Dow Jones. The Fibonacci lines are probably not that different. I I should probably open the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ to see where we are. But I'm using the S&P. Now you can see we're already falling. And the reason why I wanted to do the S&P first is because I am watching my 10 a.m. reversal. We are 2 minutes away from 10 a.m. And this is a classic situation where I would consider, if I was still a day trader, I would consider looking for a buying opportunity right here because markets love to correct into this 10 a.m. area. Now, there's a little bit of trouble on this particular 10 a.m. buying opportunity because it's coming off inside an hourly 9. I can see it with the multi-time frame, which this week, because I'm not trading, I need to get a lot of work done. So this is going to be one of the things I'm going to try to add into the indicator for those that have access to it. Let me go to the hourly chart, and we'll take a look at Bitcoin. Let's get those likes up to like 250 before we look at Bitcoin and do some Q&A after. So this is the hourly 9. The hourly 9 has been very relevant. Look how the hourly 9 reversed the price right at the low. Granted, it was off hours. Look how it reversed the price for a 1 to 4 candle correction and then perfectly into the countdown phase. So I am trusting this 9. I probably am not looking into this buying opportunity at 10 a.m. Scratch that. I like this hourly 9. Would have been a great time to short earlier in the hour, but I wasn't even watching the market. I just sat down. So when did we top? We topped again exactly 9 a.m. Wow, look at that. I am not long. I am not short. I have stocks, which I should probably look at. I have positions on from the options course yesterday that we did. Perfect. I just want to share a couple of stocks that we entered yesterday. I'm just curious where they are because the market is certainly moving. So the most risky trade that we did yesterday was on Nvidia. And of course, like clockwork, it had some crazy news last night around 9 p.m. And look, it's still there. So our Nvidia trade will profit big time by percentage, of course, if Nvidia closes Friday at one of these purple lines. These purple lines maximize the profit on the Nvidia trade. If Nvidia closes anywhere within this purple channel, we profit. The closer it gets to the edge of the channel, the more we profit. The more it gets outside of the channel, the more money we lose. And that's the Nvidia trade that was put on. So I was curious about that. Tilray. Our usual Tilray. We need Tilray to rise to make money on the Tilray trade. Tilray fell, but there's still plenty of time in this trade, and we'll see how it goes. What else do we do? Uber. Need Uber to rise to make money on the Uber trade. It's breaking out. Beautiful. Pulling back a little bit, but that's okay. I actually got to check if I have a limit order on a trade on Cisco, direction neutral trade. I got to see if that filled. Under Armour. Need Under Armour to go up a lot. Ooh, to make money on the Under Armour trade. Beautiful. Beautiful. Under Armour definitely gap to the upside. I'm trying to remember them all, but I don't know. These were just some of the trades that were taken on during the options course. I'm still confident in that Tilray trade. That Tilray was like the least, that was supposed to be the safest trade we had. I gotta, come on guys, get those likes up to 250. I already see some questions. We'll answer those once we get to that 250 mark on the likes. All right, here we are. It's possible the market is rebounding to the upside of 10 a.m. I would, only because of the hourly 9, I would be a little bit cautious. If this was not on an hourly 9, I would be more cavalier on this 10 a.m. reversal, but it could still happen. Look at that beautiful reversal candle at 10 a.m. on the markets. I'm still bullish on the overall market, right? Short term. I think that we have resistance here, so we should go higher. It looks like we could have another 40 points in the S&P. There's also a 9 coming in the stock market. If we get a 9 around this 200-day moving average rejection, that becomes a potential next opportunity for me to short. I am not going long the market right here. I may do some strategic trades, but I'm not going long the overall market, because the overall stock market right now reminds me of the Bitcoin market going into the $14,000 top. And as you can see right here, this is the weekly scale. We're going to double check the oscillators. That's neutral. The MACD. The MACD is about to cross bullish, but it's still in the bearish area, not ideal. CMF is just crossing into the bullish area. So the stock market right now reminds me of this. The stock market reminds me of this run up to 14,000 that never made sense to me. And I knew there was going to be a severe pullback. And I felt that this pullback wasn't sufficient enough, but this pullback certainly was. I had no idea if we were going to go lower or not than this. But the longer this took to develop, the more likely we were not to go lower. It's the same thing for the stock market. The more time passes by, the less likely we are to go to new lows. Okay? So not even the higher we go. How high we go is not the biggest factor. It's the length of time. And we're going up pretty fast. Can we still go to new lows? The answer is yes. But the longer it takes for us to reverse, with every single day, the probability of us going lower than this decreases. And if we get rejected by this area, the probability of us going lower than this is probably incredibly low. But the probability of us going to, say, back to this Fibonacci line are still pretty high. I felt that this move from the 9 was supposed to go down to this Fibonacci line, but it never did. Also keep in mind, there is a countdown phase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we could get to a 13 and a 9 is coming. So I'm still bullish the stock market here, but not bullish enough to risk long positions on the stock market. Maybe on some stocks, but not on the stock market. Okay. Oh, likes are at 205, close to 250. Let's look at gold. I don't know why gold always gives it to me over here. Maybe I should get rid of these Fibonacci lines. I don't really need them anymore. I wonder if that will fix my problem. I'm going to drop these Fibonacci lines. It's no longer relevant because that's the high. Let me do that. Okay, chart's a little cleaner. Gold is down. I'm not in gold. I did not get in properly at my position. And this is really, really important for those of you learning how to trade. Remember, I was interested in getting into gold on a 1 to 4 candle correction to the upside. But when I wasn't able to properly time buying at the low, I refused to chase gold to the upside because I have learned my lesson too many times. Had I chased gold to the upside, I would have been stuck in a losing position right now. If I had got in properly here at the low, I could have already exited that trade at a stop loss a little bit above break even. But if I chased gold to the upside and I got into gold at this green line, I am now totally screwed. I am now sitting in a losing position. And that losing position is starting to look really, really bad because tomorrow we could have a red 2 below a red 1 and look at your RSI and look at your MACD. They're a complete disaster on a daily scale. Now, from a weekly perspective, gold is probably still looking okay. From a weekly perspective, we're still on a 4. But next week, this is likely to flip to a red 1. So I am not interested in bullish gold right now. I think gold still has a little bit of time, especially if the S&P 500 is going to be rising. Gold can certainly be falling because right at the moment, everyone is speculating on the S&P, or guys like me are staying out. Like I hope I'm not. I hope I don't miss the all-time high in the S&P, but I don't. But I think it needs a pullback. I was right about Bitcoin having a huge pullback when it was rising from 3,000 all the way to 14, and I also believe the S&P is going through the same thing. Silver is price flipping left and right on a daily scale, so I am not really interested in silver. Oil is very, very interesting. Almost at 250 likes, and then we talk about Bitcoin. Come on, guys, let's get those up. So let's look at oil. Oil was down pretty big overnight, and now oil is back up. Very interesting. USO is about to go through a bunch of structuring, but here's your latest future. This is June delivery. I would not be surprised if the June delivery goes negative. I wouldn't be surprised. Nobody wants oil. The economy is still shut down. We are still shut down in the economy. This is US oil, and it can easily go negative. We were down to how low? We were down to back to $10 early this morning. So it can certainly go negative again if nobody wants it on the last day. Can you check USO? All right. Hey, we broke 250 likes. Yes, I can check USO. I was going to enter a trade on USO. It was going to be a very speculative trade to the upside, of course. And that trade would have made a lot of money if USO goes straight up. And that trade would have made a little bit of money if USO goes straight down. It would have lost money if USO only went up a little. USO is going to restructure. USO is going to do a reverse split. USO is going to be very interesting to look at on May 1st. Right now, it's like treading water. They're restructuring everything. USO almost screwed up and totally destroyed their ETF. So they're going to start doing it right, I hope. Hope they have some good advisors this time. Okay, let's go to Bitcoin. It's time. It's time for Bitcoin. Here we are on the long-term view. I like looking at the long-term view. We are still in hyperwave wave 7. I do not believe this wave 7 will take us down to 1,000. I believe the low is in. I believe we are not going back below this green line. I think right now, if Bitcoin crashed, we would not close below 5,600. If Bitcoin goes up, which it is likely to do, and we do reach this red resistance line at around 9,000 and change, we then probably will not go below 6,000 at the close. We can swing below 6,000 intraday or intra-week, but we're not going to get to it on the close, especially the weekly. I believe this bottom trend line will hold the way I believe this upwards trend line will hold one more time, at least one more time. I'm not expecting a breakout of this line unless there is a major fundamental economic event. Here are my two major exceptions. One, a major country eliminates paper cash. A major country, China, Russia, US, Canada, Australia. A major country eliminates paper cash. That's event number one. That could drive Bitcoin past the red line. The euro breaks up. One country defects from the Eurozone. Factor number two. Those are my biggest factors. Third factor, a huge crackdown on tax havens. Huge. Like, for example, a coordinated attack on tax havens. So, U.S. Virgin Islands, British Virgin Islands, what else? Bermuda, some of these islands that are kind of owned by other countries. They're like a major crackdown. Like, that's it. We take over your banks, and we know where everyone's money is. An invasion of Panama, which probably won't happen, but basically Panama say, hey, you can't form your company here if you're not actually a Panamanian citizen. Like a major crackdown on KYC AML obfuscation, that would send Bitcoin probably to $100,000, like within a week. if there's a major crackdown on, rich people getting around AML KYC laws, that will send Bitcoin to 100,000, maybe even 500,000 within a week. Those are my big catalysts. Okay, here's the weekly. The weekly is still stuck at resistance. Bitcoin has not moved this morning at all. And it is a green 4. The slower this goes, actually, the better. If Bitcoin, slowly drags its feet, there are 2 potential resistance points. On a weekly scale, it has a resistance point right here at 8,600. That is a Fibonacci resistance line and the 50-period moving average. By that time, if it takes 5 more weeks to get here, the Lucid SAR will also be in that area, potentially rejecting the price. Though the Lucid SAR rarely rejects any price, it usually breaks. So that would be bullish. I think the Lucid SAR will hold, and we will reverse before we hit the SAR. Next week, the SAR will be below this monster downward trend line that I don't believe we could get to it, but somewhat unlikely. I would love to see a weekly 9 here, but before we get to that weekly 9, we have to deal with the daily 9. The daily 9 just slowed down its efforts. Now, in a perfect world, this 5 would have closed the candle somewhere down here. It would have been a lot easier to make it into a 9 with a 5 that pulled back. The 5 did not pull back. It makes it harder. But I would love to see my perfect top in 3 days from today. 3 days from today, we hit a 9 at triple resistance. This may actually be a shorting opportunity. I said I was probably never going to try to short a Bitcoin now that we're in a bull market. Okay, rule number 1, don't short Bitcoin. Rule number 2, especially in a bull market. Bitcoin to me is finally in a bull market. But this is just when I have 4 areas of resistance, I take the short. This is exactly why I took the short on the S&P right here. Oh, God, this is happening here. Exactly why I took the short on the S&P right here. And that's because right here. And that's because there was a triple resistance here. It was a 9. It was a doji candle with 2 hours to go. And it was the rejection of the 50-day moving average. But S&P is in a bear market. Bitcoin's now in a bull market. S&P could also be in a bull market. I'm just not as certain as I am about Bitcoin. So there are very special circumstances. Now, the worst case scenario that I was looking for was a 1 to 4 candle correction, which is actually what happened. Total was going to go lower, but it was only a 1 to 4 candle correction. Excuse me. So, Bitcoin, while I am absolutely bullish on Bitcoin, this is going to be beautiful topping opportunity. I'm not going to short, but I am going to cash some out. I have a long trade in my retirement fund on GBTC. I am cashing out that trade on Friday at $8,000 on a 9. That is the top I'm looking for. Now, Bitcoin has been rising on the weekends for a while. I think this weekend things will change. S&P has been pumping on Fridays for the last few weeks. I think this is the week it changes. I am kind of hoping that S&P goes up into, look at that beautiful 10 a.m. reversal. I didn't even believe in it. Even I was skeptical of the 10 a.m. reversal, and there it is. Here's the candle that began at 10 a.m. If I go to the 1-minute chart, like sometimes this really like, I'm like, man, there's no way it's going to reverse at 10 a.m. this time. It looks too bad. And boom, it does it. Here's the 10 a.m. candle, literally. The market reversed at 10:01. At 10:01, the market reverses. Jesus, what a move. Those that learned this strategy from me, like I hope you weren't listening to me this morning because I did teach the 10 a.m. reversal. And what a beautiful move. Right from the close of that candle at 10:02 a.m., We are already up 10 points on the S&P at the high a minute ago. Wow. Wow. That's amazing. It's been 16 minutes. That's great. Even I didn't believe it was going to happen, and it happened. This is why sometimes you should write like a bot of your trading strategy so your emotion doesn't get in the way. Boom, 10 a.m. Nice. Okay. So it looks like internet cut out. I want to grab my phone just in case I got to run a backup. Are we back? I don't know if we're back. I hope we're back. We should be back. Okay. I think we're back. All right. So let's get here first. I am still bullish on Bitcoin into $8,000. At that point, I am looking to take profit on my long trade, maybe cash out a little bit. I haven't been spending any money while in quarantine, but eventually I'll be spending money. Perfect time to preload my Embly card. So I'll probably do it right here. I am looking to preload this bad boy, beautiful Embly debit card, and preload that in the near future if Bitcoin drops. That's kind of how I do things. Okay, that's it. We can take a look at the short-term Bitcoin. And then I'll take a look at a couple of questions, and then I'm going to get going. 4-hour Bitcoin chart, not interesting. Went long. Well, it gave you a long trade on a green 2 above a green 1 above a 9 right here at 76.71, and we're currently a little bit above that on a red 1. So not telling you much. There was a red 2 below a red 1 right here, but we are in an uptrend, so you got to take that carefully. So the daily chart still looks good. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of questions. I see a tipped question that came through a little while ago. Thank you, Lucas. Tone, thank you for your insight. I was wondering what is your thought on the current rise in the S&P is caused that the Fed central banks are buying everything they can as they have been selling last 2 years. No, that's not how it works. The U.S. Government and the Federal Reserve, they don't buy the stock market. That's not what they do. They try to support businesses. But because the speculators and professional traders are seeing how the Fed is trying to support businesses, they believe that there will be enough money slushing around to make these companies profitable again. Like, for example, let's look at Uber. Let's look at Uber. One of the trades we took on. We took a long trade in Uber with option spreads. Whoa, what happened to Uber? That was looking great this morning. That's okay. We have plenty of time. We have a few months for Uber to go up $10. So let's look at Uber. Why are people buying Uber stock? Well, people are buying Uber stock is because they believe Uber as a company can make money. If no one had money to pay for Uber rides, why would anyone buy Uber stock? But if the government is going to print money and support small business and give people unemployment checks for the next 5 years, those people should have money to then go and use Uber. So the Fed is not actually printing money to buy Uber stock. That's not what they do. But people that are speculating on what will those people spend their stimulus checks on, and enough of them are buying into Uber stock. Okay, now everything is pretty much rising, though not everything. You can see if we go to a cruise line, like, let me get this out of the way here. If you go to a cruise line, or some other assets, like not everything is rising. I'm trying to think what is not rising that much. Airlines are kind of rising too, but not that much. Let's look at, we'll look at cruise lines. See, look at that. Clearly, Norwegian is not rising as fast as Uber is rising. Uber broke out of an ascending triangle. This thing is still down from its secondary peak. Look, everything bottomed on March 18th. Norwegian had a high on March 26th. And now, how much is it down from its peak on March 26th? And it popped today. So on Friday, Norwegian was down 44% from the peak price. Let's not cherry pick the peak price. Let's go with the highest close to the highest close. Today is not over yet. Highest close to Friday's close. Norwegian was down 32%. Let's go to Uber. There it is. Same thing, right? March 26th. What is Uber's highest close? And then we go to Friday's close. Boom. So while Norwegian was down, what, 30%? Uber is up 7%. Why is that, right? If the Federal Reserve, if the government was buying stock, that's because they're not buying stocks. They're printing money to try to give it into the hands of the people. Now, 90% of the time, they actually fail in doing that, right? They're like, hey, we want money to go to the people. We're going to print money. We're going to give it to the banks, and the banks are going to give it to the people. But the banks never gave it to the people. So this time around, they're like, screw it. We're just going to print money and give it to the people. I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm not saying that's what I would do, but I'm just saying that's what they're doing. And because they're giving money to the people, investors, speculators, professional traders, professional investors are trying to guess where are those people going to spend the money. And clearly, the investors believe that they will spend more of that stimulus money on Uber than they will on Norwegian cruise lines. And that's why Norwegian is still down and Uber is up, okay? Obviously, people are still using Uber while they're in quarantine. And no one is using cruise lines right now. But cruise lines also fell a lot more than something like Uber, okay? Uber only fell 67%. Cruise lines fell like 90%, okay? So that's what you have to understand, that the market is rising, but not as a direct result of the printed money going into the market. None of that printed money is going into the stock market. That is illegal. The US government cannot do that. Okay, it'll embarrass, it'll destabilize the US financial system. If the world believes that the US government is printing money to prop up the stock market, it doesn't matter that Japan does it. Japan is not supporting the world economy. America is. The US government cannot buy companies. It was bad enough that they had to nationalize like the Freddie Mae and Freddie Mac in 2008 and somewhat nationalize some of that auto industry. That was bad enough as it is. The US government is not in the business of buying stocks. The Japanese government is, which is why I don't understand why people are so high on Japanese investing, because very, very soon, all of it is going to be owned by the government anyway. So it's not really private anymore at that point. Okay, good question though. All right, we got a few more questions. Thank you for all the likes. We're up to 336 and we almost have 1,000 viewers. Next question, would you rather see the daily count break and then resume, or would you rather we hit the 9 in a few days? I would rather we hit the 9 in a few days. Again, guys, anytime you ask a question, please, please, please put the asset and the time frame, because I can get to that question an hour later and I don't know what asset and what time frame you're talking about. You could be talking about the S&P, you could be talking about Bitcoin. I have no clue. So I would always rather see a 9. Because a 9 doesn't tell me that it's gonna go down and reverse. Very often, like you saw with the S&P 500, a 9 will only be a 1 to 4 candle correction, and then you go into the countdown phase like we are right now. It looks like we're already going down. That 10 a.m. reversal didn't last very long. It lasted enough for a short-term trade. Here we are on a 10-minute chart. It lasted enough for a short-term trade. That was a 10. See, perfect. Here it comes. Here's a 9, and I would love to see this 9. Another potential buying opportunity. Now, this is for short-term traders. As a long-term trader, I'm not ready to go long the S&P 500. I would rather be short the S&P 500, but I don't want to do it today. I think we're in the middle of nowhere as far as resistance. But at this point, I would rather hit a 9. I want it to go up slowly. I want to hit a 9. The chances of us hitting a 9 at the Fibonacci is very low. I would rather hit a 9 at the setup trend line, at the 200-day moving average, sometime next week for a potential market reversal. I don't want to see the count break, because a broken count messes with my trades. Look what happened right here. I was ready to short the market on a breakout above this triangle here back in late March at a 9, but the count broke and it prevented me from getting into a short trade here. And here I'm looking at a red count, and that red count broke, and now it's going into the green count. But this messed me up already, because if I was long this count, I lost a lot of money here, unless I got in back there, which I kind of did, but like this messes me up. I don't want to see a count break. I want it to go from 1 to 9 so I can trade 1 into 9. I can get out on the 9. I can short the 9, and then I can decide, do I want to stay with my short, or was it a 1 to 4 candle correction and now we have more upside? I always want to see counts complete. I never want to see counts break. If you were in a profitable long, would you take profit at the 200-day moving average? Some, all, trim, most. Good question. If I was in a profitable S&P long, right now we're making daily lows. If I was, but that's okay, we went up a lot. I would take most of my profit here. I can always go back in. I would take the majority of the profit. I would even take some profit at the Fibonacci, maybe 30 to maybe approximately 25%, and then I would take another 50% off. So I don't want to be more. I would take approximately 75% of my profit from this run up at this moving average. Same thing here. Here I actually took all my profit. Well, I wasn't long here. I shorted, but That's because there was a 9. The run-up was huge. There was the rejection of the 50. And I would have taken all my profit here and even gone short. So I would take at least 75% off the table of my profit if I was long. Do you think Litecoin will ever hit all-time high? No, I don't. I do not think Litecoin will ever hit all-time high. I don't, 350? I don't believe it will ever go there. I think there's a higher percent chance that Litecoin will not even be proof of work before in the near future, because I think its mining structure will fail. Litecoin is insecure inflation on top of Bitcoin. If you believe that Bitcoin, if you believe that Satoshi did the right thing by not giving Bitcoin infinite inflation, if you believe that Satoshi was right in only making Bitcoin 21 million units, then you fundamentally cannot believe in Litecoin success. Because if Litecoin is going to succeed, then Satoshi made a mistake and Satoshi should have added inflation to Bitcoin. Bitcoin should not be capped at 21 million. Are there any new BIPs in the works for Bitcoin or exciting upgrades upcoming? Are you excited about anything? Honestly, I've been so focused on markets and trading. I have not done enough videos with Jimmy Song, but I will make sure to ask him. Schnorr is coming. There is a huge soft fork coming up. Schnorr, Taproot, all that is coming. So that would probably be it's going to be, so the impact of the next soft fork is probably a third of the impact of the SegWit soft fork. This soft fork should be a lot less contentious than the SegWit soft fork. It would be probably approximately 33% as critical as the SegWit soft fork was. And that would be the last huge major soft fork. And after that, hopefully, there's not going to be any catastrophes unless in 10 to 20 years, there has to be some quantum computer resistance put in. Maybe, if that's even needed. All right, we're going to go back into the 10-minute because I'm dying to see what this 9 looks like. So let me walk you through how to do. I don't want to give away my workshops, but these workshops, by the way, if you want to support, please use the affiliate page. I already showed you guys my Embley card. I will be adding to this card if Bitcoin hits 8K because I think it's going to pull back and I have some shit to buy. And if you're trading, please use these. Options course went incredibly well. I had a great time, 3 full days. I might even do a 4th day on Friday because we enter a lot of trades and some of them end on Friday. So I want to walk through the exits. I walked people through the entries. Now we have to walk through the exits. From the on-demand videos, entries, exits, and stop losses, and also risk position size management are very, very critical workshops. And I don't want to give stuff away, but I'm in a good mood today. This is a beautiful reversal candle on an 8. This candle ends in 3 minutes. I would potentially be looking to set up a trade right now as a short-term day trader. Right now, I am looking that this candle has gone down 5.8 points. That is a significant amount of risk, but we're in a very volatile environment. Here's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see this candle close green. I want to see this candle continue to be red. This is also what I do in my workshops, but I want it to be as a reversal candle. I wish this candle ended right here, right now. So we have to wait 2 more minutes for this candle to close. So I got to fill the air with, I don't want dead air. So got to talk for the next 2 minutes here. What attempts are being made to make Bitcoin more accessible so that someone's 80-year-old grandma can figure out how to handle it? Do you really want me to answer this honestly? No offense to 80-year-old people and grandmas, because I have those as well. I am human. I'm not helping my dad get into Bitcoin. I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm doing it for them. I have given up on that part. And I never felt that. I would rather take all the effort I can to get, 9-year-old kids to be accepting of Bitcoin than 70, 80-year-olds. I'm sorry, there is just more to gain by the younger people understanding Bitcoin than the older people. I don't want to sound insensitive to 80 and up. I don't want to be ageist here. But I wasn't in a rush to get my dad onto email, and I'm not in a rush to get my dad onto, and my dad's in his, 70s. Wasn't in a rush to get him into email. He had a cell phone before I did. But I wasn't in a rush to get him into email, and I'm not in a rush to get him into Bitcoin. Okay, here we go, 33 seconds. So I know exactly where my risk is. I am going to go long on this trade. And I will put my stop loss right here. I'm not going long yet. I'm waiting for the candle to end. I just want my lines there. Blue is stop loss. Green is entry. 9. I'm not in the trade yet, so the stop loss doesn't matter. Your stop loss is irrelevant if you're not long in the trade. The candle didn't close how I wanted it. I would go long. Normally, I would go long above the top of the 8 candle, but I am making an exception only because my risk is big. On a 10-minute scale, my risk is big. I would go long above the green line. As long as we don't cross the blue line before we go over the green line. Welcome to trading. Nothing is black and white. I'm going to go to a 5-minute scale. Maybe there's a 9 coming up. There was. And this trade is no longer on the table. I have to now fully reconsider because we went below the blue line before going above the green. So obviously there's no stop loss because there's no long entry. And my attempt to go long did not happen because the chart did not, the TA did not play out like I expected. But it's still a 9. And I would stay patient. I am not short this market. It can go down all the way. But I'm using the sequential, not as a continuation, shorting the red 2 below red 1, which clearly was the right move. I was trying to use the 9 to attempt to speculatively long the market, which I didn't actually do because it broke lower than what I expected to be the morning low. So now we wait for a reversal candle, which may not come. And if this 9 does not close as a reversal candle, we're going to end the day and there is no long trade. We're going to end the video here. Do you think the 10 a.m. reversal in the S&P is a psychological bounce during the morning hours? It's not as much psychological as it's strategic by people entering and exiting their trades. Do you play SPX futures or the SPY options? I used to trade SPX futures as a day trader on 5 and 10-minute charts, exactly what I'm showing you right now. That's what I used to do for a few years of my trading career. At the moment, I don't trade futures anymore, and I don't want to be an options day trader. But because of the high volatility environment, the last few weeks, I've been an options almost day trader. I would enter my options trade for the intention to hold it for a week or two, but the current market conditions have temporarily turned me into an options day trader, which I don't want to do this week because I want to do work and not babysit my day option trades. Okay. So my attempt to buy the 9 was averted based on how that 9 candle played out. Had that 9 candle started to rise, I would have been long in the market with very well-defined risk. At this point, I don't have an interest in going long unless this candle turns into a reversal candle. And if this candle does turn into a reversal candle, then the risk would be too great anyway. So it looks like there is no day trade for me on this, and I would not short because I would be chasing the market, and I don't chase. Some people chase and do very well. I don't. So I'm just going to check some of the stocks that we had. Uber is still hanging in there. I want to check Tilray. And I want to check Under Armour. These are the ones that I am directionally long in. But the biggest trade that I put on was NVIDIA as a direction neutral trade where I need NVIDIA to close the week as close to the purple line. Upper purple line is a little bit better than the lower purple line, but profit is maximized at the purple line. This trade should be profitable anywhere between the purple lines, and it becomes less and less profitable the further it goes outside the purple lines. I think there was also a trade on MGM Grand. Took on a bunch of trades yesterday. The MGM Grand trade is going into earnings. And this trade is designed for earnings. And it will make money as long as MGM Grand moves a lot, irrelevant of its direction. All right, got one more question, and then we're probably going to call it a day. Do you think we will see some major bank and traditional finance do some M&A on crypto exchanges? Absolutely. Such as a Citi buying a Kraken or taking a significant stake. Citi wouldn't buy a Kraken. Citi is not a brokerage. But say Charles Schwab, maybe. Kraken is also a pretty big company. Kraken has almost 1,000 employees. Kraken is huge. Coinbase is, I think, less huge because they're not very smart at Coinbase because they believe in shitcoins. And Brian Armstrong is a terrible CEO. So it's more likely that, say, Charles Schwab buys Coinbase, and I wish they will. I hope they do, because they can maybe fire Brian Armstrong and replace him with a competent CEO. But you're looking at Charles Schwab, you're looking at the TD Waterhouse, Ameritrade. I don't think Interactive Brokers is going to buy any of them. I think they know what they're doing. They'll probably like just let you trade Bitcoin if they wanted it. You're looking at the large brokerage houses are potentially would be going into that. But if they do, let's say they buy not a Kraken, like I said, a Coinbase or a Kraken, they wouldn't want to be responsible for holding the Bitcoin. They would outsource or Fidelity could do it. Fidelity would hold the Bitcoin. But this is where Bakkt comes in. Bakkt could be the Bitcoin custodian. Or Gemini could be the Bitcoin custodian, not an exchange. Gemini should be the Bitcoin custodian. So Gemini is the Bitcoin custodian, and Charles Schwab allows you to trade Bitcoin with Gemini as and the Winklevi twins as the security of that Bitcoin. Good question. Okay, let's go back to the S&P. Are we still falling? We are still falling. We've broken the TDST on a 10-minute chart. How are we in terms of daily candles? We have closed the gap completely pretty much we have closed the gap completely. And let's see where this goes. I don't believe this is the top. It could be the top. It's unfortunate if this is the top because I was looking for the top to be here due to TA. So we will see how this goes. I am not shorting this candle because it's not giving me the TA I need to short this candle. So I am staying out of any short trades today in the S&P. I'm just going to try to get some work done. I'm going to take a break from trading. I got a bunch of trades entered yesterday that I need to be watching, and that's enough for me. All right. Hey guys, please support. We have these on-demand webinars. No more course. You can purchase it. You can buy the latest videos through this Mastering Options Trading. In fact, I could send you all the videos from all 3 courses. They're very similar. But this is over. No more courses coming up. And that's pretty much it. The private videos are coming. Subscription services are coming. I have to work on that too. You can check out the store. And like I said, use the affiliates if you want to support. Okay, Financial Summit still set to take place in Bali in November. Okay. Final look at oil, final look at gold, and final look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is holding well. I like it. I've been saying it for over a month. Bitcoin should become the safe haven. It will still be correlated with the market, but not a lot. Looking to take my profit here on my long positions in Bitcoin. All right, guys, I will say goodbye here. Good luck trading, and see you all on the next one.